Hey everyone, Patient Zero here bringing you some Zen, that's zombie entertainment news, not highly philosophical wisdom from Japan. No, it's not Saturday. I've just decided to try something new with the show. I've done 4 episodes now, which I've gone back and listened to, and found them to be a little scatterbrained and clusterfucked. Maybe it's just me, but I felt like I was trying to cram too much in, which is perfectly fine for porno, not so much for podcasts. So, what I'm doing is just organizing it a bit. I'm going to start posting maybe a couple episodes per week to make sure everything gets covered and that it's still easy to follow. So, I hope you like what I'm doing because it's all for you. Show some appreciation, you bastards. Or just tell me to fuck off and make some suggestions. That said, here's some Zen.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
The zombies are taking over. She's been bitten! You know what that means? She's gonna turn into one of them! You fool! You're feeding him human brains! You're making him strong!
Every dead body that is not exterminated becomes one of them. It gets up and kills. The people it kills get up and kill.
In those moments when you're not sure the undead are really dead, don't get all stingy with your bullets.
Who died and made you fucking king of the zombies?
They are driven by the basest of impulses, the most basic of needs. The need to feed.
Kill the brain, and you kill the ghoul.
I'd like to have a calm discussion on this topic. You think we can manage that?
Just a reminder, the Zombie Commission report is brought to you by listener support. If you listen to the show and you like it, I ask you to please consider heading over to our Patreon page, patreon.com/ZCR podcast, and becoming a patron of the show. For just as little as $1 per month, you can help us become much better, increase production value, get better microphones, better computers, better hosting, things of that nature. It all goes to the show, and yeah, sure, a little bit goes to help me out along the way. The times are tough. Hey, can't blame me for that. Again, patreon.com/ZCR podcast. Thank you for your support. There is little doubt that we zombie fans are living in something of a renaissance for the genre. With the popularity of AMC's The Walking Dead, based on the hit comic book series by Robert Kirkman, more and more zombie material is coming out. Of course, not all of it is going to be great, but at least some of it will be. I hope. So, this week on Zombie Entertainment News, I've decided to fill you in on some of the films coming out this year in the zombie genre. Or, at the very least, somehow related to the zombie genre. Cabin Fever is getting a reboot. Now, I watched the original and I loved it. The original film, which kicked off the career of Eli Roth, who later became famous for the Hostel series of films, was not really a zombie film, and I don't expect the remake will be either. However, it was a horror comedy in which a group of people are exposed to a highly contagious flesh-eating virus, and a lot of the themes you find in zombie films are present in the story. Eli Roth will not be directing it, but is listed as starring. Instead, Travis Zarini, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce his last name. I am horrible with names, so if you have a last name or a first name that is hard to pronounce, I'm going to fuck it up, and I apologize in advance. So we're going to call this guy Travis Z. Travis Z will be directing, and as far as my research indicates, this will be his first feature-length film as a director. John Cusack and Samuel motherfucking L. Jackson, the starring duo from 1408, return for another Stephen King adaptation. Cusack will be playing the role of Clay Rydell, and Jackson will be his companion, Tom McCourt, in Cell. Based on Stephen King's novel by the same name, Cell places its characters in a world swept with mindless violence after a strange signal broadcast over cell phones, turns people into raving homicidal lunatics. In other words, they become murderers instead of accidentally killing people while texting on the phone. While this may not be your average premise for a zombie outbreak, a lot of the themes will be in this one as well. Todd Williams, who also directed Paranormal Activity 2, mans the helm of this one. The synopsis on IMDb for Daylight's End is as follows. Years after a mysterious plague has devastated the planet and turned most of humanity into blood-hungry creatures, a rogue drifter on a vengeful hunt stumbles across a band of survivors in an abandoned police station and reluctantly agrees to help them defend themselves and escape to the sanctuary they so desperately need. William Kaufman directs the film starring Johnny Strong, Lance Henriksen, Louis Mandylor, and others. Whether or not the blood-hungry creatures humans turn into are zombies, vampires, or some hybrid of the two is not specified, but it could be worth checking out. At the very least, maybe it'll be better than the remake of Last Man on Earth, the I Am Legend. Sorry, I didn't like it. And yeah, they were vampire creatures, not zombie creatures. Still, maybe worth checking out. Now, Hidden stars Alexander Skarsgard, otherwise known as Eric on HBO's True Blood, as Ray, a man who tries to save his family from a deadly outbreak by hiding them in a fallout shelter. Watching the clip available on IMDb lets you know nothing about the nature of the outbreak, but I'm hoping for zombies. It's being directed by Matt and Ross, the Duffer brothers, and this will be their first feature film credit as well. Olivia Wilde is returning to another medical-based character in The Lazarus Effect, but I sincerely doubt Dr. House is going to be around to make any lesbian jokes in this one. The film, directed by David Gelb, is his feature-length directing debut. In his feature-length directing debut, centers around a group of medical students that discover a way to bring dead patients back to life. IMDb lists it as coming to theaters on February 27th of this year, and I can't wait. Why? Because this sounds very close to the premise of Reanimator, which is a cult classic. You have to love that movie. And I want to see if they manage to do it better or at least on par with that film. Get in the chopper! Arnold Schwarzenegger is going to be in a freaking zombie film. Eat your puny ass heart out, Brad Pitt. Maggie tells the story of a teenage girl infected with a disease that is slowly turning her into a flesh-eating zombie. The world-famous Austrian bodybuilder turned action hero turned governor of California turned actor plays the girl's father, who stays by her side through the entire painful process. I'm extremely excited for this one simply because I want to see if Schwarzenegger tries to pull off a deeply emotional role, or if he just resorts to the barbaric violence he is known for. Henry Hobson directs in what will be, you guessed it, his feature film debut. Kitchen Sink, directed by Simon Rumley, who also directed the P is for Pressure segment of the ABCs of Death, throws viewers into a world where vampires, humans, and zombies used to get along together just fine, sitting around, holding hands, singing kumbaya, what the fuck ever. But when something unexpected happens, it's all-out war. I'm not sure how I feel about this one. It stars Vanessa Hudgens of Machete Kills, which I didn't like. If you liked it, fuck you. I didn't like it. And she also played Blondie in Sucker Punch. It also stars Ed Westwick of Gossip Girl, which I didn't watch, and J. Edgar. In J. Edgar, he plays Agent Smith. To me, this film sounds a little too much like Twilight, and hopefully I'm wrong and it doesn't end up a Shaun of the Dead title, but if it does, it does. Sorry, Mr. Rumley. If it ends up there, it just ends up there. Going through this list, it seems to me like there's a lot of first-time feature-length directors, and I'm interested to know, what do you guys think about this? Should first-time directors start with the zombie genre, or maybe something a little bit just more mindless, like slasher films? That's just me. Because to me, the zombie genre, if done right, is very deep. So let me know what you think. There are a few other films whose release dates are not yet listed on IMDb, so I've excluded them from this list because I don't want to be the asshole that tells you they're coming out this year and then they don't. Among those titles, though, is the movie adaptation of the critically acclaimed video game The Last of Us. And I'm sure there's also going to be a shit ton of straight-to-DVD films coming out this year also. So, that's it. That's all I have for you today. Head over to Twitter and give us a follow. That's twitter.com/ZCR podcast. Join us on our website, zcrcast.wordpress.com. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/ZCR podcast. And please, head over to our Patreon page and become a patron of the show. That's Patreon, patreon.com/ZCR podcast. I'm Patient Zero. Fuck, that didn't come out right. I'm Patient Zero, reminding you, if it doesn't have zombies, it doesn't have brains.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
The zombies are taking over.
She's been bitten! You know what that means? She's gonna turn into one of them! You fool! You're feeding him human brains! You're making him strong!
Every dead body that is not exterminated becomes one of them. It gets up and kills. The people it kills get up and kill.
In those moments when you're not sure the undead are really dead, don't get all stingy with your bullets.
Who died and made you fucking king of the zombies?
They They are driven by the basest of impulses, the most basic of needs. The need to feed.
Kill the brain, and you kill the ghoul.
I'd like to have a calm discussion on this topic. You think we can manage that?